quests ready to turn in Dead Island. I just haven't turned them in yet.
You son of a bitch.
All right, I can play that game for free now
Oh, Dead Island's up on Game Pass?
on PC only. But yeah,
Neat. Can it have 3 players?
well, it doesn't have crossplay.
I know it's not your fault, but I'm going to blame you. Your ability to avoid playing with us is just like magnificent. Wow.
I mean, I've been waiting for you to tell me when you want to play some zombies, man.
Call of Duty or finish up Remnant 2, yeah. We'll even drag Bloodaxe along.
Yeah, or
and beat
finish
it.
up Remnant 2, yeah.
Kicking and screaming all the way.
I have to reinstall Remnant too, but I have Call of Duty downloaded. And I played some of the.
There's a reason I'm waiting on Remnant 2, and that's the big patch that updates all the guns.
The big patch is going to nerf my build
It's going to upgrade your guns.
and buff his build.
It's going to upgrade
It's
your
going to
guns.
nerf my build and it's going to buff yours. I get it.
Go
No,
check
it's
your
fine.
numbers, and I would apologize to you if you do less damage after it.
All right, I'll do that this evening. I'll go check my numbers.
Check your numbers and guns.
I'll take some screenshots and some
Because all
video.
those gun upgrades look really good. Like, they're more than 15%. Now, I'm going to get a lot of damage, so you're not lying. Like, I'm waiting. I want that patch. I'm like, ooh. I tried to play it last night, and I was like, man, I need that damage buff. I don't feel busted enough. But Call of Duty Zombies, I'm actually looking forward to. Yeah. I enjoyed it when I played it.
I know. I've had fun playing around
Probably, I
with
don't
it,
think
but I was like,
Bloodaxe
I
would
really
take-
want to play with somebody.
Oh, no, it's not. Yeah, by yourself is okay. Well, we're waiting on Bloodaxe to take it for a spin. Otherwise,
I
it's just going to be
told-
dying.
I was playing it earlier today.
Call of Duty Zombies.
Call of Duty Black Ops 6.
Zombies.
I mean,
No, I was playing the campaign.
You started camp.
yeah, he started the campaign without us, man. It's fine. We'll just play the campaign without him. How many people can play the campaign?
How
by
many
the
people
way?
can play the campaign? That's a good question.
I don't think it's more than one person. I don't think it's co-op.
I thought the campaign was
No,
co-op.
sure. Okay,
Yeah.
The way the story reads, or the way the cinematics have been, I don't know how they would add a second person in, especially with some of these
You start the
sneaking
show.
in
I'll look it up.
missions.
That's a good thing to know.
I don't know. Call of Duty Black Ops
Campaign.
6 co-op.
It pops up co-op as one of the questions.
Co-op
with that.
campaign.
Yeah.
Let's see. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 has a cooperative mode called Zombies. Okay. There are some details about the campaign and multiplayer. And campaign, some say the campaign is one of the best in years, blah, blah, blah. Multiplayer.
It does not use co-op multiplayer for its campaign, but they added story to the zombie mode, so it has a story. So that's what they're saying.
Yeah, but there's only 2 maps for the...
I keep hoping more are unlocked, and that it's not.
Yeah, I'm sure that I'm hoping they'll have more.
I'm hoping that they're actually locked. Well, then then go ahead and play the campaign, and we'll play zombies, and you can join us on zombies whenever you're ready. Zombies plays different than the campaign, I'm betting, though. So you still may want to get a little bit of, experience. I still don't have it mastered. I don't know what the heck's going on, but I enjoy it. You know what I mean? I need to watch a video on it at some point.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get started.
Go ahead. I'm just gonna see how many zombie maps there are.
2. I told you.
And I believe you.
I'm sure you don't.
Well, I'm hoping.
But
you're
I'm
wrong.
right.
I'm hoping you're wrong.
Welcome to Dicejunkies. I'm Xenodamus. I'm here with
You
who's wrong, and on Skype.
probably.
We got Bloodaxe, who's also wrong.
Oh, what are you wrong about?
Oh, I don't know. I was just going along with the flow.
Oh, okay.
But
I mean,
but
I'll agree, but I mean, I don't have anything that I know of right now.
well, apparently I was wrong on my personal assessment on Skeleton Crew. You guys have a different opinion than me, so that'll be an interesting talking point.
Yeah, well, let's talk about it then. What is your assessment of Skeleton Crew, man?
I just it seems like they're trying to do a cross between Goonies and Guardians of the Galaxy, as opposed to putting something into the Star Wars universe. I know that Jude Law's character is supposed to be a force sensitive or force user, but I don't know if he's a Jedi. Supposedly, after this is supposed to be taking place between Return of the Jedi and the Force Awakens, so it's about the same timeline as the Mandalorian. So he could be a Jedi that's survived all these years, or it could have been a Padawan that was learning and still working on his Force craft. But it's just the whole shtick about, at least for the 2 trailers that we've seen so far, it does not scream Star Wars to me. It's sci-fantasy kid show, as opposed to a Star Wars kid show. So I hope it's good, because we need good Star Wars in pop culture, and that's one thing that I quit hoping for a couple of years ago, was good Star Wars, and maybe this surprises me, but just what I've seen so far, it does not remotely jump my interest in getting Disney Plus again so I can watch Star Wars.
Well, I don't.
I mean, look at that. I mean, it looks like they're a subdivision and they're driving in a combustion vehicle down the street. So, I mean, that does not scream Star Wars at all.
I mean, I don't think it's. I mean, yeah, I do agree that it doesn't scream Star Wars, but I mean, for a spinoff for kids to get them into that universe, you may not want to scream Star Wars too hard.
Well, that's what we had the Bad Batch for. That's what we had the Clone Wars for. I mean, my oldest son cut his teeth on Clone Wars. And my youngest twins, they really fell in love with the Bad Batch. That's kind of, at least the gateway for some of the younger kids, is getting in through animated series. But this, I have serious doubts that this is actually going to be a good show.
Yeah, I don't know, man. To me, it felt sort of Goonies-ish, and it looked fun. Like I said, it's not for me, I don't think. I mean, I wouldn't watch it, not unless, one of my nieces or nephews wanted to watch it with me or something. But yeah, it's definitely not going to get me to log on to Disney Plus. I mean, I agree with you on that.
I actually didn't like the second trailer because I didn't feel it felt like Star Wars at all. No, I didn't think it was. Let me rephrase that. I don't mean I didn't like it. I thought it looked like a fun little kids show. Both trailers. But the second trailer, literally, I was going like, dude, there's like one Star Wars recognizable thing in it, just about. The first trailer actually to me was a lot better. It felt a lot more like Star Wars. Like I came away from that feeling like it was a lot more of a Star Wars show. But overall, it looks fun. It's for kids. I don't think it'll do anything for Star Wars. I'm going to be blunt. I don't think it's going to sell any merch. I don't think it's going to blow up. But I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be like a Jumanji or something, to where it's fun. Your kids will like it. They'll ask their parents to take them. They'll watch it themselves. If there's a movie, they'll ask their parents to go see it. But will it create fans? I don't think so. But I do believe it'll actually be popular, and that it looks fun. Looks pretty fun. Like, I didn't see anything egregious or disagreeable. Heck, I'd watch it if my son wanted to watch it, or maybe if I just got bored enough, put it on in the back while we're playing.
That looks very Star Warsy right there.
Yeah, like I said, that's the first trailer.
Yeah.
The first trailer has a way more Star Warsy vibe. It actually made me almost interested in watching it. The second one, because we watched
there's
that
another known Star Wars alien.
Yep. Yeah, first trailer, man. But the second one, we watched it first. And the second trailer...
Well, you watched it first. We had already talked about this once before, but you didn't watch it then. It may have been one of the times you were out sick, yeah.
I think I remember y'all bringing it up. But, like, I like the first trailer as a Star Wars trailer. The second trailer still has a Goonies vibe. And guess what? I like Goonies. Heck, I might watch it as a flashback to just Goonies shows. I mean, well, I would maybe if it was a movie. Is it a movie or a series?
It's a series.
I doubt I'd sit through a bunch of episodes. But, I mean, if it was a movie, I'd probably sit down and throw something on and, like I said, play some zombies or something while it's playing. But I think it's great for kids for entertainment. I don't think it's going to get Star Wars numbers.
Well,
I don't think it'll be like a Mandalorian.
And I
or
mean,
anything.
let's be honest. We're all being optimistic here. We know Disney's track record.
I didn't know if you were going to bring that up. That's the problem,
You know.
because we don't know what we're not seeing in this show, man. Because it's Disney. And the last thing they made was the Acolyte and Agatha all along. It's just hard to trust them. Even when it's a kid's show, it's hard to trust them.
So, I mean, while I'm looking at the trailer, I'm like, okay, it actually looks decent. But, you know, in the back of my head, I still have those nightmares of Disney past, you know.
And you're like, what weird thing are they going to do?
Yeah.
Something's got to come out really weird in this.
So,
But if it's just a good kids fun, I miss that Disney. They would put out a fun little movie that the kids enjoy. It doesn't start a new franchise, but it's fun. If it's fun, that's good. Now, again, actually, like they have quite a bit of makeup and special effects. I don't know if they're going to be able to afford it, because kids shows don't always make that kind of money, and I don't think this is going to turn into a Bluey or a Caillou. I don't think it's going to make a lot of money. So whether it can pay for itself to keep going is the question.
I mean, honestly, though, I think this is where Disney should.
Blowing out a little bit.
Yeah, I think this is where Disney should be spending most of its time. It should go back to its roots, to kids stuff. Honestly, I think they should keep the IPs if they want to keep the money, but let somebody who does better with adult film take over the adult side of their franchise, and they continue to make kid stuff, because this is where they tend to do well. They tend to do well with kids, you know, which brings us to our next.
Oh, dang, I was going to say something else there.
Oh, well, I was just going to say, you know,
Oh, God.
speaking of doing well with kids, have you seen?
We're actually covering this?
I mean, we're not covering it. I just wanted to mention it. I thought it was funny. The internet, I mean, the Vatican has unveiled an anime mascot for.
No comment.
I
I'm
mean,
not
look,
Catholic, so but no comment. Like, no comment. I have nothing to say that's appropriate.
They even have a whole group of them. All right. We'll move on.
You know, if I wanted to lure kids,
All righty. So, Sweet Baby Inc. partners.
if I wanted to lure kids, you didn't even change the topic. If I wanted to lure kids into my projects and message, but everybody knew my name, how would I continue to get access to those kids? And I can't afford to make an anime doll.
Sweet Baby Inc. partners with the PAL group to push its. All right, I will say this is that park place, so that it's
They're very opinionated.
They're very opinionated. The point of this article is just that apparently Sweet Baby Inc. has decided, because
I'm not repeating what Flynn said
because its name.
in our chat. I cannot repeat that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because Sweet Baby Inc.'s name is so notorious at this point, they have decided to work with another company so that they can the PAL group, so that they can work on this stuff without it being their name on it.
Yes, essentially, you hire a pal, you get Sweet Baby Inc. They're literally disguising themselves. Remember now, they already took all their stuff off their site, where you can't see who they're working with anymore.
Here's my thing,
and
though.
what games they're working on. Now they found another company to hide behind to do it.
I mean, did they though? I mean, the PAL group announced that they partnered with Sweet Baby Inc., which means now if you see the PAL group, you're seeing Sweet Baby Inc. So.
They announced it on LinkedIn, but how many of the casuals are going to know to look out for the name PAL?
Well, I mean, how many?
It's going to get the majority of people who just now are figuring out who SBI is to go, oh, this is an SBI. Well, yes, it is.
This is how a lot of this. I mean, this is how a lot of this stuff ends up selling, though, man. It's how Valguard is getting as many sales as it is getting. It's because a lot of people don't keep up with this crap. I mean, it's painful.
LinkedIn? I don't even follow LinkedIn. I only heard about this because somebody else was paying attention.
You talk about how painful it is to keep up with a lot of this stuff, man.
Yeah,
I mean, your average Joe doesn't know. Now, I will say I do. Well, we'll get to that in a bit about Valguard. But I mean, yeah, I mean, yeah, they're hiding behind another group, but they did it publicly, so I don't think it's going to work.
Well, here's a question, too. We don't know that, how public that was. Did they get caught and then they announced it? Did somebody find them and then they got ahead of it? You're not even sure if that's how it played out.
Well, no, but now we're just making assumptions.
Well, here's the question. Is it on their page? Can you go to the Power Group website or Sweet Baby Inc. and see that they're partnered? Because, like I said, I don't even have LinkedIn. I don't even have LinkedIn.
It's on their LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn. I sit there. You know what I meant when I said page. Don't make me punch you. Because most people don't follow LinkedIn, dude. That's for people like you who's very, like a social. You're watching that kind of stuff. And that part place, apparently. Me, I hear about LinkedIn because other people cover what's going on LinkedIn. I'm pretty sure it's the same for Bloodaxe. We don't watch LinkedIn. We probably hear about LinkedIn from media coverage. You know, someone else.
I have a LinkedIn account.
Huh?
I have a LinkedIn account.
Oh, I don't. I hear about it from other. I don't really like certain social. I just don't really do the social media at that level. We all know this. I'm as president as I need to be to not get fired from Dicejunkies. That's about my level of social media. But like,
I mean, obviously, Sweet Baby Inc. done a crap on their website. We've already talked about this.
Completely.
Now, as far as the PAL group.
No, I'm hoping they will have it. They seem to be pretty open about the partnerage. So it would be good. Do they have like announcements or what? Because if we're going to have it, it should be under their like most recent announcements or partnerships.
Let's see.
Like I said, it would be an announcement. There had to be most websites have announcements on them where you can click and see latest announcements.
What we do, who we serve, careers.
Maybe if you were in their newsletter, you would get it. But now, man, these sites are pretty slim. Compared to other sites where you usually go in and I go to check on my game companies and stuff, and they have announcements, latest news. But that's what I was trying to say is that if you're not already following Powell Group, which means you're already on board, because Powell Group was already that type of consultant company. I do also want to say that. This isn't new. Like Powell Group is we believe in adding diversity and increasing representation in games. That's been their mission statement already. So they already were that type of group. I mean, yeah, you can see it for yourself. I'm sorry, but there's just a face for that kind of, I mean, they just all look alike, man. Like, you can look at them and go like, okay, I know what you're about. But, yeah, like, Powell Group was already that. So for Powell Group, I got no problem with them. This is what they are. They've just partnered with another one. Now, why Powell, who is a group that was under the radar, decided to partner with a company that's heavy on the radar, I could not possibly understand. I don't know what kind of money they got paid or material they got on Powell, because Powell, I wouldn't know. Like, I only found out about them being that type of consulting company because they partnered with SBI. So, dumb move for Powell, brilliant move for SBI, because most people, probably like me, don't know what Powell's about, so wouldn't be on guard for their name. Though, honestly, you almost don't have to be on guard for their name, because like you were about to get into with Veilguard, you can look at these games and very quickly find out what they're about. It's just, there's lack of subtlety. I mean, right, Bloodaxe? I mean, at this point, me and Bloodaxe will go looking for games to play. We'll be going through Game Pass and stuff, and we're literally pointing out the games, and then a week or two later, when it come out, what happens, Bloodaxe? It comes out, and everything we guessed was right about it. Like games like Unknown 9, we pointed that out. Flintlock was one that we were cautious about. And then we did find out. But, like, all of those games, they're very blatant. Even the Prince of Persia, I was like, I don't know what they're doing there. That's a bit odd. I don't know. I didn't even go into it. I just thought that the artwork felt like it had changed. It's like
even the one I didn't think that was going to do it did it too. So I was so disappointed in Clans. That just really just kind of rubbed me the wrong way with some of the stuff they did. But even on top of that, the fact that it was so bloody short. I mean, it was the shortest Mech Warrior game I've ever played in my entire life.
Yeah, well, dude, Black Game Pass, I hate to say this because I'm a Game Pass supporter because my boys play Game Pass. My son's brother plays a lot of the sports games, and he got him a new controller recently. His controller had stick drift. He said, I can't play my shooters when I got him a new controller. I support gaming. You know what I'm saying? Okay, hey, man, you got to be able to play your shooters. But 50 to 70% of what Game Pass is putting out is in that category. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it. If it's
not more.
a trash game or it's a game that is just not high quality, it usually pops up on Game Pass. I don't know why they keep picking up this stuff. Maybe they get it dirt cheap, but we've literally one time me and Clinton.
Well, that's probably part of it. Is they probably do get a lot of the indie games dirt cheap.
But we went through an upcoming list, and it was like 6 out of 8 games were of a very specific audience. And I'm just like, okay. And again, I don't care. It doesn't affect what I'm playing.
Yeah, the last few games haven't been that.
Ashen's not too good.
But I mean, it's an older game. It also has nothing to. I mean, it hasn't.
Oh no! Well, no, I said
category.
Trash or that, or it's just a bad game. Seafood, I think is pretty good. I've actually watched a lot of gameplay and I considered trying it.
Trials of Mana was good.
But, Inscription was interesting, actually.
They have good runs. What'd you say, Bloodaxe?
The description was interesting, actually. I played that for maybe an hour or two.
Which one?
Inscription. It's actually kind of a darker game.
Oh, yeah, it's a horror game.
Yeah.
And I mean, Dead Island 2 is now on there.
It's been on there.
Now, Dead Island 2 is new.
No. Dead Island as a Game Pass just got added, man, for free.
No, they got added months ago. Now,
I'm looking at it. It's under recently added.
I believe you, but it was added months ago.
Maybe the Xbox version, because this is the PC version. But to my understanding, the Xbox version isn't on Game Pass.
I haven't seen it on my Xbox for recently added. Yeah.
No, we were talking about it earlier in the year that after we went and bought it, it came on Game Pass.
All right. Well, either way, the killer of this fact that, like I said, there have been times even when me and you, Zeno, went looking and the majority of the games were Vista. And again, that's not a big deal because it doesn't take away from anybody. So who cares? But it is just interesting that, Mech Warriors Clans, when Mech Warriors Clans came out, I was like, and Bloodaxe was very optimistic, but I said, it's coming to Game Pass, man. That kind of almost makes me more concerned. Than anything, because if it's coming to Game Pass, that usually means it's probably not that good, sadly.
MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries came to Game Pass, and I spent probably at least 80 hours on that game.
Well, it was an older
This
game.
One, I may spent 25, 30 hours, and I beat it twice. I mean, it's really, really, really a short game.
I'm not saying they don't have good games. I mean, I think Call of Duty 6, I'm shocked that they stuck to that and actually released it. Because, I mean, it's Call of Duty 6. It's a big seller, and yet they did do a day one release. And Stalker 2 looks like it's going to be one of the best games this year. It's going to be everything I wish Fallout 4 was. It just looks like a better apocalypse survival game. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what will never come to Game Pass or any system ever is despite rumors that this game could be brought back, it has been confirmed. Sony PlayStation has completely dead-ended Concord. Not only did they dead end Concord, but they dead-ended the whole studio.
Firewalk Studios. That's completely what I said would happen. I was like, this game's not coming back, and neither is the studio.
Well, people were seeing updates hitting Steam in the background even after the game. I was wondering if people brought that up.
But I kept going, I just can't believe they're going to throw the money into this. Because remember, I kept saying, it takes money to run a server. It takes money to run servers, especially enough for a big online shooter. I didn't think it could possibly make the money as a free-to-play game to maintain its own servers. I just didn't see that happening. And apparently, they scrubbed it, which makes me wonder, was Firewalk Studios doing that on their own? And then Sony came in and said, what the hell are you doing? Like, okay, no, you're out. What are you doing?
But I'm understanding Firewalk was working on Concord to begin with. All right. They were a small studio working on this game. PlayStation injected some money into them and said, hey, we want that game. Then they said, you know what? We're just going to buy the whole studio.
Which technically is money spent toward that game also.
And then they delivered on the game, and it failed miserably. So, I mean, that's one of those things where Sony just really screwed the pooch, man.
Dude, I'll say it like this, just like this, man. They could have sold all the staff's organs and not made their money back on that game.
Yeah.
Like, there was no way they were making their money back. They could have sold to people for spare parts and not pulled it off. This was a loss beyond all loss. Closing Firewalk Studios didn't help. It just meant they weren't still wasting money on it.
But it's just sort of a sad thing, though, because it's like, hey, we're doing our own thing. We're making this game. Oh, man, we're getting all this money from Sony. Who knows if Sony sort of pointed them in directions or what was, we don't know. But here's this up-and-coming game studio getting ready for their first big release. Sony takes them, the game bombs, and then the whole studio gets shut down.
And hear me out here. I don't have beef with Firewalk Studios. It's actually unfortunate that they're getting shut down. I hear they're sending people to other places, hopefully, trying to find placement somewhere else. I hope so. Because they didn't do anything wrong. They made their own game. I'm always for that. The reason we're joking about it is because the cost was just insane. The crime here wasn't that they made a game with a certain style or pronouns or any of that, because guess what? Unique property and do what the hell they want. I don't care what you do, man. It's just, oh my God, like the theory or hypothesis or rumor that it costs like, what, 800,000, 400 million, of 800 million? Like the price range that has been guessed for this game is just insane. Like, it's like up there with the most expensive games we've ever seen. So it's just wild that it costs that much. That's the problem. And I don't even know if it's their fault. Really, they should have stopped giving them money. At some point, they should have said, hey, man, want to turn yourself back on? We need to stop giving them money. We've given them too much money. Heck, they should have said, let's give some of this money back because there's no way we're going to make this. That was, to me, the crime.
Like
the crime wasn't the game. The crime was the expense.
Yeah, I mean, Sony put a lot of money behind this. I mean, they bought a whole studio for one game.
Now, if the rumors are true and the internal environment was like that, they should have listened to people. Because the only thing that makes me sad about this, because I wouldn't be sad about this if it wasn't for the fact that it wasn't for the claims that a lot of people inside were saying, hey, guys, we need to change the direction. We need to do something. This doesn't look good. I hate to hear that story because there's nothing worse than somebody tried to help, tried to correct the direction, tried to keep people's jobs, and somebody at the top just said, shut up. We don't want to hear it. It's perfect the way it is. That's sad, man. What do you think, Bloodaxe?
Well, I mean, if whoever's at the top, if it's their money, then they have the option to build things in their vision. Granted, it's been proven that gamers don't want that garbage. We actually want to be able to have interesting stories with fun characters to play, and none of this was that. From a gameplay perspective, and everything that I've read and seen, is there was very little, if any, glitches. There weren't any gameplay problems. The only problem was getting a lobby. So from a programming perspective, from a game building perspective, based on the limited light volume of players, it ran smoothly, it played well. Just aesthetically, it just wasn't attractive for a lot of players.
Yeah, the aesthetics and it needed balance, but what hero shooter doesn't need balance patches, man? That's part of making a hero shooter.
So if that's really indeed the case, and I don't have a PlayStation, I didn't play it, so I don't know, but if that's the case, then yeah, these people deserve to have a job because they didn't do anything to justify them losing their positions. Just because management had poor direction
and blew too much money.
So there's that too.
Yeah, but, dude, if this had been $100 million game, it probably would still be around. But as a $400, $500, $600 or higher $1 million game, no.
I mean, when we talk about films losing $100 million, that's a huge loss. This was 4 to 6 times that amount of a loss. which is absolutely insane for a game to lose that kind of money. So, because management directed it into the toilet is not the devs' fault. So if they are moving them around, props to Sony for actually trying to find homes for developers that made a solid game for all intents and purposes. But the people that were in charge of the project and the scope and the direction of the project, they may need to find a different line of work. Maybe they can go work for the Powell Group if they wanted to.
Well, this would have been fine for an indie game, but that wasn't indie game money. That was not indie game money.
No, it was not.
I mean, speaking of finding a different line of work,
come on, you can do it. You can bounce back, man.
With all this, it may be a bad time for employees of Activision to be striking because they don't want to go back to the office, as well as developers and QA of over there at Activision. To say,
I had a pre-show rant about this, didn't I?
I'm enjoying working from home, and I'm not going back to the office.
They're shutting down whole studios, firing hundreds. I'm up here every week or two going, I hate the people losing their jobs. And these are like, I ain't going back to the office. And I'm like, dude, they're firing devs who are making good games. They closed Hi-Fi Russia's studio, man.
Yeah.
They're putting out games. They fired the people that were working on Rocksteady, or whatever. Fired a bunch of people after they made GTA 6. And we know GTA 6 is going to print money. How are you striking when you know there's an executive thinking, I can get a nice bonus if I fire everybody that's standing outside? I'm just shocked. This is a crazy industry.
Yeah.
To be striking in.
Well, and so that's one of the things that I think the unions of these people are basically claiming is that this is a low key way of firing a bunch of people. They call it a soft layoff, similar to the we mentioned the people getting put into the boredom rooms to basically so they'll quit on their own.
Yeah.
Well, this is the call back to the office. They're saying is a way to lay off people because they won't go back to the office.
Yeah, but if they don't come back, they're still going to lay you off. The fact that it's even easier to lay off. Oh, you refuse to come back to the office. Well, you quit. We're telling you to come into work. You didn't show up.
Yeah.
Like, to me, if I had to decide, man, I need to downsize my staff. Who am I going to downsize? What's going on outside? Oh, wow, that makes it easy. Just go down the list. You're making yourself a target in an industry that doesn't need a good reason to fire.
But I mean, I think the Texas Activision office already did this a while back. This time it's the Minnesota office that is pulling people back. I mean, you sort of were. The writing was on the wall that this was coming. Now, I hate it for people who thought that this whole work from home thing was permanent. They found places further away from the office already where there is no office, and they'd have to pick up and move if they really wanted to do this. I do feel bad for the people who get caught in the middle that are actually doing their job. But at the same time, if they're calling people back to the office, it's probably because they're not getting the full a workload that they think they should be getting out of the people. But
I suspect that it's actually a bit of what other people are saying. I do think they're bringing them in to decide who they're going to keep. But it's why the strike is a bad idea, because I think they're going, we're going to bring everybody in, we're going to watch them, and then we're going to, because you can observe the workload a lot closer as well, and go, this guy's good, this guy's good. You were helping this person do their job, but actually you're good. They're really just riding off. Because, it's not that hard when you're working from home to get with even other people. It's hard to track. It really is. I do believe that this is part of a plan to downsize and get rid of some people. The problem is that I also believe striking means that employees who would have kept their job may get bundled into that termination. And our boy Flynn in the chat is saying that's how you lose good people. A lot of great games we got came from people that left other studios. That's true. Doesn't change the job. But the problem is they don't care. The company doesn't care. They don't care about losing people.
Well, and like I said, I mean, it is amusing to me being as somebody who works in software development, who does have a lot of remote workers that I've worked with. And I see people get terminated every day for not doing their job. You know, just because you work from home, you can still be gauged. Now, I don't know how well that works within the game development. I work in business and enterprise development software.
You don't do like a 9 to 5 when you're doing game development. It's really
it's a little harder to possibly. Like I said, don't know. Haven't worked in that part of the industry. But it is a little weird, the whole pushing, because I bet, and here's my thing, because we've had this before too at other places I've worked. They've called people back to the office. They make exceptions for the good ones, though. I guarantee you they're calling people back to the office, but there's probably a top ring developer that says, "Nah, man, I'm in Canada now," and they're like, "All right, you can work remote."
Well, that's what you do. You say, we need everybody to come out to the office, and then we're going to redistribute it according to our needs.
I guarantee you.
And they've already picked the people that they're not going to make
the whole soft layoff thing is probably more correct than anything else. And I guarantee you the really good workers, they've already contacted and been like, no, man, this doesn't affect you. This doesn't affect you. You're good.
And they even asked, hey, man, what about so-and-so? Oh, he came in for a while. Then we told him he never even showed up. Yeah, he came in for a week. You didn't see him. He was over there. You didn't see him.
We located him to a different office.
Yeah. He went in our office in Canada. Building. What's it? What's his address?
It's his office.
we have an office in Canada. It's 2 doors down. So it is a soft layoff, and we're not trying to pick on it. We're just stating, though, that, like, strikes work when your company cares. It just doesn't when they don't.
Yeah. And honestly, the video game industry does not seem to care. Yeah.
So, I'm shocked. Oh, go ahead, Bloodaxe.
Especially with all the shenanigans that Blizzard was dealing with, was it last year or 2 years ago? And with the Microsoft acquisition, you probably want to be on your best, most productive behavior, because everyone knows after an acquisition, in about a year, they're going to have a reshuffling of the deck. And they're going to start getting rid of duplicate talent or lackluster talent, and especially from the upper management perspective. So this is not the best time to go on strike. It's not the best time to put yourself on a list of, okay, this person is not going to be a team player, or they're acting out, and so. That's where kind of my first thought goes. But on top of that, then after Call of Duty gets launched, there's going to be some updates. But once you have a game that goes live, the major development is already done. So there's going to be upkeep, and then whatever additional content that's going to come out. So you don't need to be so fat and staffed. So this could be a double-edged sword, and they're not going to get the results that I think that they're looking for with this process.
Bloodaxe, you are a genius, because that was what I was waiting to say, was that the game's out. What you need to do updates and stuff is a fraction of what you need to develop the game. And now that the game's out, it's fairly playing. They really don't need anything but QA and the team that's going to do the extra maps and stuff. That's like maybe a third of the crew.
QA's included in this office walkouts.
They'll fire them. We've seen them fire the whole QA staff. That's the problem. Because guess what? QA's not hard to replace.
Hey.
For a video game industry. For the
video game industry. A lot of the QA are the players.
Because you basically need somebody to play the game, man. I'll do that. I'll go be QA for a while. But see, you're different. You fix problems. Not all QA does. A lot of video game QA, some parts of it are we test the game. That's not a highly difficult
Well, no.
field.
QA in the game industry is way different than QA in the business sector. I've hired out of the game sector, and I've been shocked at the treatment they're used to. The business sector, you find somebody in the game sector that is successful in QA, pull them over into the business sector and watch somebody strive. Man, it is amazing. Because
QA is a rough field, man. We've seen them fire the QA on a game where QA wasn't the problem. Remember, I threw a rant about that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they fired the QA team on a game where the problem was the writing. And you're like, the problem's the writing. Why did you fire a QA?
Oh, well, speaking of poor writing.
Some of Valguard.
Vileguard. Nice. Wow, I've heard a lot of different ones. Failguard. I've not heard Vileguard. Can we coin that?
Vileguard? All right.
Yeah, that's good.
That is
No, it's
good.
just a respelling of Veil. That is
Yeah.
brilliant.
I sent this, I know, twice this week, and it took me calling Q to say, hey, have you seen this? And he went and looked up, and then he goes, oh, my God, you're right.
And for somebody that's been following it, I didn't think anyone could shock me until you showed me more gameplay footage, and I just went, ugh.
Now, I will say this, and I've been actually watching a lot of this stuff, and I've been trying to get a different aspect from you guys. I know you watch a lot of the YouTubers and stuff like that, so I've been reading through lots of articles when it comes to the Valguard and reviews and stuff like that on different review sites. And I will say, the one thing I constantly read is poor writing. Now, you guys have talked more about the cringy stuff, and this article speaks more of the anti-woke bombing and claiming it's bombing, But from the articles I've read, the really cringy stuff that I know you guys are about to talk about isn't as prevalent as a lot of the YouTubers make it out to be, unless you go certain, like you have to choose certain dialect that sort of leads in that direction for some of the cringiness and look for it. Now, some of it, there's no avoiding it. I've read several times. There's a few times where it's really cringy and there's no avoiding it. But for the most part, they said it's just bad writing.
I mean, yeah, I obviously wasn't going to do what you thought. Like, I know Bloodaxe and me have talked about it, and Bloodaxe, I get it. See, here's the three different ways that we really are. Well, boy, Bloodaxe, like, his immersion is the setting. Like, so he's going to be bothered if it throws him out of it, or if it forces him into a situation he's uncomfortable. That's reasonable. That's how he plays. That's why he liked MechWarrior Clan so much, with other MechWarrior games, because he's into the MechWarrior universe. To me, plays too slow. But for him, it was a perfect MechWarrior game because he wanted to feel like he was in a mech, and that's how their mechs move. He's very much into getting that. Xeno is the devil's advocate and probably the most durable of us, that the game's fun. He could just block out. He'll literally not even hear a seed. I'll be like, man, remember when they said this? And he's like, huh? Like, his ears will just go bloop, and he'll just not see or hear it. And I'll be like, it was the third seed of the game. He's really able to focus in. Me, I'm a middle. I need immersion. But, dude, I loved Hades. I've talked about that. And I thought the story for Hades, it was very natural to flow down all the paths. And guess what? I did. I played Hades. I romanced everybody. It was in the game. It felt appropriate. But I'm not going to talk about that. I'm actually going to say the things that are wrong with this game, because the things I've seen from people who don't care about woke material was that the voice acting is terrible. That the delivery was awful. And I've listened to the voice acting. It doesn't matter what they're saying. It's just bad. They sound like modern-day college students. And I don't mean what they're saying. I mean how they're saying it. They talk like me and you. They don't sound like a fantasy character. They're just like, man, we're going to do it like that. Or like, guess whatever. And you're just like, what the heck, man? Why does it sound like I'm listening to a conversation at the coffee shop instead of like a freaking 9-foot-tall Cornari dragon hunter?
I will say, even when I read books, man, I have to read along with like the audio books a lot of times. Because especially, not so much if I'm doing something else, like I'm multitasking, it's not that big of a deal. But like when I lay down and I'm listening to an audio book, a lot of times, and I know this is probably going to sound really bad, a lot of times I will zone out the audio book, and in my head, I'm hearing the audio book, but it's my version of it. And then eventually I realized that the story going on in my head is no longer matching up with the audio.
I've literally listened to an audio book of a book I already read, and my mind will replace the voice. It will correct the voices to mine because of immersion. But the second thing I was going to bring up, and then we'd let my boy Bloodaxe go, but is The other criticism is actually gameplay. Yeah. And that's a problem because you can't have bad writing, bad voice acting. The combat's repetitive. Over and over, I've watched people play this and get bored with the combat.
I did hear...
The enemies are spongy. Yeah. It's very repetitive.
I heard that the combat was not bad. From most of the people I read, they said the combat was not bad, but it was repetitive. And you sort of... It's something like you just get into a groove and you're not really thinking anymore. It's not really...
See, a lot of those reviews are people that didn't play it that long. But for the people I've watched who have been putting in, like trying to beat it, tedious is a common word.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing this from the people I watch who are into this kind of content, and they're still saying it's tedious. So, no, I'm not going to sit up here and talk about, because you want to know what? They can do whatever they want with Dragon Age, okay? I was out in Inquisition. Everybody else thinks Inquisition was good. I prefer Dragon Age 2 to Inquisition. I know that's blasphemy, but Dragon Age 2 to me felt closer to Dragon Age Origins than Dragon Age Inquisition did.
I mean, I hated that they went away from the Baldur's Gate style of the first one, man. You know.
Yeah, but Dragon Age 2 was closer than Inquisition in my mind. So already in Inquisition, I felt it was not my Dragon Age. And not because of content, it's because of the way it played. It felt further away. Also, I'm going to be honest. We know I'm crazy. Couldn't play a Blood Mage. Never forgave him for that. Okay? We know me. They took my Blood Mage, and I couldn't be a Grey Warden. I want to be a Grey Warden. It's nice to have one, but I want to be a Grey Warden. Man, I was into that. So they lost me when they just kind of got further away. So Veilguard to me, or Vileguard as Bloodaxe calls it, to me the biggest issue is that if the combat gets boring and repetitive a few hours in, what's the point? If the dialogue is so bad that I'm going to want to turn off the voices and put on subtitles, that's bad. If the story writing is ridiculous, that's bad. Like, I don't want to spoil it, but like I know what's going on in the story, and the story decisions they made are unfathomable to me if you played Inquisition. Like, they never should have shelled Dreadwolf. I don't know why they did that. They never should have shelled it. All right. I've talked enough. I can keep going,
well,
man.
Before we hand it over, I will finish I read a lot of reviews, and I will say this is probably one of the better reviews I did read. It gave recommended. Now, at the end, he does mention, I really wish there was a third option for reviews, like buy on sale or mix, because the game would fit there pretty well. He gave it a pretty middle of the road. He did say, he would give it somewhere around 6.5. But he mentioned, it's not an exemplary RPG. It is a decent action RPG.
Well, he says all the things I said. Gameplay starts fun.
It starts strong and fun for some time. And because at this point, I'm already starting to feel burnout at almost 20 hours. So
that's just the tutorial for a Dragon Age game at 20 hours.
But he did say that, he also felt like the writing wasn't that great. He mentioned that the cringe wasn't as bad as he heard.
Music and sound are generic.
Yeah. So, I mean, to me, this is not a positive review to me. But
well, he's mentioning more bad things than good things. And if more than 50% of your review is negatives, and if you say the best thing about the game was the visuals and optimization, like literally he's saying because you can run it on high res. So he thinks the best part of this game is the optimization of the graphics, which to many people means nothing. I'll tell you right now, man. We'll play an 8-bit. We play I'll play any game.
Here's another one of those. This is one of those cases where I wish there was rate. A lot of people are just not downing it because it's not a horrible gameplay. But it's not good gameplay.
They're saying they feel relieved that it's out, but also disappointed. So, I mean, and I get it. They're trying, and they may even be doing that to keep it up there because I don't know if Steam would do this, but there has been a lot of rumors of negative reviews being removed on other sites. The way they even caught it is that the number of reviews would literally go down. You'd have like 1,300 reviews, and then you come back the next day, and now you only have 1,100 reviews, and the game score jumped up. Well, that makes it pretty clear that you removed 200 bad reviews. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty obvious. Because if when the reviews go down, the score swings wildly in a direction, that's what it looks like.
All right, Blood. Rip at it.
Well,
Sure, man.
there's different groups I follow on both YouTube and X, and it's funny the sales of Dragon Age has actually been better than what I would expect, considering a lot of the bad publicity that has also accompanied it. And the fact that they weren't giving mass trial keys to the normal gamers, I guess, to help maybe suppress some of the backlash. But I agree with Q. The voice acting is bad. The one scene that I shared, which just made me just want to just scratch my eyeballs out, was so badly written and didn't even match up with the scene. Because apparently someone made a mistake, and instead of apologizing, they decided to go do 10 push-ups. But if you actually watch the video, they only did 5. So they quit out on their apology. So it's a half-hearted apology on the mistake that they allegedly made. But I mean, there's so many of the other scenes that I can't invest myself into a story like this. I played Dragon Age Inquisition. I thought it was meh. I finished it because it was on Game Pass. Not that I actually was looking forward to playing it, but it was one of the first games I played on Game Pass, and I finished it just because I wanted to finish the game off. But even that game was not super exciting, and just for the limited scenes I've seen from this one, and granted, I know they've been cherry picked because most people are going to either be outraged one way or another, or it's going to sow the most discourse. I get it. They're going to pick the ones that are going to cause the most reaction, one that's the most polarizing. So take it with a grain of salt. But the fact that some of them are written in to where they're unavoidable, versus if I choose not to take a certain path and I can avoid this whole storyline, great. But if you're going to shoehorn it in, that's not something that I'm going to enjoy playing. I suffered through it in Clans because it's a franchise I'm invested in, and while I've played all 3 Dragon Age games, it's not one of those games that I'm going to play like Gears E-Day. I'm going to play it no matter how bad the story is or how good it is. That's something I'm emotionally invested in. Dragon Age isn't one of those titles for me. And so even if it comes on Game Pass, I'm probably checked out at this point, unless there are significant reviews that will help sway us or sway me in a different direction to actually give it a shot. But based on a lot of the stuff that I've seen from people that I trust their judgment on, because we are similarly like-minded, it's not a game that I'm probably going to be interested in picking up, and I definitely is not something I'm actually going to pay money for. Game Pass maybe, but other than that, it's not something I'm even remotely interested in.
I love action RPG combat. If it came out on Game Pass, I probably would try to see how far I could get through it with all the cutscenes skipped. And I'm not even really joking. I'm being pretty serious. I would play it for the combat. We played games that have almost no cutscenes, man, but we just enjoyed the combat. Because me and Zeno, because we're Steam players, we pick up random action RPGs, man, and we don't even know the story. You're just enjoying your build because it's a $10, $20 game.
Yeah.
Would I play through this game if it was free, or at least give it a shot? Yeah, I'd turn it on. But I won't lie, I'd probably... Well, here's a quick thing I'll end on, because we did bring this up too. Dragon Age Inquisition had quite a bit of actual content too that was inclusive and so forth. But you want to know what the difference is? Other than I think it was Cassandra and Varric, you didn't have to keep anybody in your team. You quite literally can tell everyone to F off.
Well, and that's another comparison.
And that's choice.
That's another comparison I saw, especially with people that are talking about Baldur's Gate 3. They're like, Baldur's Gate 3 had a lot of weird stuff in it, if you're not into certain things. But, yeah, you had options and you were in much more control, where this sort of, when a lot of the dialogue options are just the same thing worded differently. and not really, not a lot of choices. So, some people have even said, you're not really, you're not really making your character. You are,
That was me. I
Yeah.
said that. I accuse the game of you're not really playing a self-made character. You're playing a pre-existing character whose opinions and views and choices have already been made, and you just get to choose what they look like. That's it. You get to choose the appearance of Rook, and then you get to sit back and watch Rook's story play out, and you're not really calling any shots. Yeah. And that in itself is also disappointing for a Dragon Age game.
Yeah. Well, so depending on where you're at with the Dragon Age, this may or may not be disappointing, or it may be disappointing in different ways. BioWare has disappointing news for Dragon Age to Veilguard fans that there won't be any post-launch DLC.
This is weird. Why did they do that? Is it not doing well? Do they already see it's doing poorly? Because that's weird, man. I've seen DLC come out to crap games.
They claim
DLC.
They claim they want to hurry up and ruin complete Mass Effect 5. So they are redirecting the shifting focus to Mass Effect.
That says a lot that they're shifting off of this game this fast, guys. And here's why I think it happened. Because really, they're not doing bad on Steam sales. I don't know what their console sales are like. But there's a big factor that you need to remember. First of all, they ain't even beating Dragon's Dogma's 2 numbers on concurrent. God, Wilds, we get to that. Wilds just like teabag.
Well, let's talk about it. Wilds.
I gotta get the point
Wilds
out
has. Okay, go ahead.
No, but just to say, I believe that the thing is, I think it's the cost. This is a 10-year in development game. I think that even with the number of copies they sold, I think is like Concord, and I think this game costs $400 or $500 million easy. People have already said it can't cost less than $250 million because the game development costs a minimum of $25 million a year, and it's had 10 years of development. But that's not counting the fact they ditched the entire Dreadwolf game. So I believe the secret about this game is even if it doubles its numbers right now, doubles everything, I think it still cannot make enough money to be worth it because it costs too much. I think it costs, again, it ain't about the content. I think it costs too dang much. What do you think, Bloodaxe? I think it costs too much. It's a 10-year developed game. I think it costs too much to be able to even be profitable. Huh?
Right, and that's also assuming that the inflationary cost doesn't even take it up even higher than that from 10 years ago to today and dollar for dollar. But a lot of companies, whether it be the Batwoman film or CNN Plus or some of these other projects, a lot of companies lately in the past several years have decided to just go ahead and cut their losses and move on to the next thing, as opposed to keep trying to squeeze blood from that rock. And you may be onto something with that, to where they know, hey, we have the reviews that we have the game that we have, but other than bug fixes or glitches or patches that we have to fix, maybe they've already just went and resided themselves that, we're not going to do any DLC. Yep. Now, if there is some kind of massive viral outbreak and everyone enjoys the game, they can always circle back around and add DLC later on. Because, we're playing the DLC for Dead Island 2. It's been out for a couple of years, and so coming back around to games and adding DLC later on, it's not uncommon. Hell, they added something for Borderlands 3, a month or two ago that for auto selling for picking up loot and things that we hadn't played Borderlands in 2 years, and they're still adding new content for. So they can always go back and add it on. But if they're wanting to minimize their losses, and if they think Mass Effect is going to be that golden goose to where they can bring in some extra cash, then it would make sense to shift resources into that and to see if something does maybe pick up, and if the Veilguard does decide have some traction, gain some legs, or if
my biggest concern with this though is if they're focusing on Mass Effect, if they're going to put this team on Mass Effect, I'm already out of Mass Effect.
The guy that's running Mass Effect is a different guy.
I know,
and he said it's not going to be this.
He says so, but if they're pulling people off this team,
you're right, because that does sound like they're specifically.
They're
That's It sounds like they're switching this team. Oh, well.
Well, I mean,
The
again, from a
quicker
visual
Ubisoft goes
perspective,
under, the
it's a
better.
beautiful game.
I've given up.
This
But-
isn't Ubisoft. This is EA.
Screw them too.
But as long
Or
as it's
BioWare,
the writers
which
that
is
are
owned by
writing
EA.
the story for Mass Effect based off of the content from this game, that's fine. I guess it depends on which parts of the project they're going to be working on as to how worried or how excited I would be about that moving to labor.
People talk about the visuals of this game. I watched a lot of the visuals on this game. I saw some awesome character models, but I also saw some horrible character models that just didn't even look, they're supposed to be human, did not look human. I mean, they had just weird, they were off.
I saw that too.
The problem is, dude, is that I played Elden Ring and Remnant 2, Dark Souls games. So they keep talking about the game looks good. The environments ain't winning me over. I'm sorry. From Software, which is a much smaller company, they make some venues, man. I'm talking about beautiful, castles and just like going down into Shadow of the Erdtree's Goal and descending. So I may be biased. I've played some of the most beautiful rendered fantasy world settings. So I'm not wowed by it, but that's me, and I'll admit. I'm comparing it to like Dark Souls and Elden Ring, which is like top notch.
But yeah, I do not care for this art style even, really. I'll be honest.
Some people.
There's a Dragon Age art style. I don't care for it. It doesn't
Hey, I like Vincent Price.
Yeah, but it's so cheesy though. It's not.
Yeah, that looks off. That looks off.
It doesn't. I mean, all four of these characters just look off to me.
That was not the worst shot, but that one shot, that angle did not come out well. That looked very weird.
Yeah, that one looks good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Has
and like you said,
I like Vincent Price, but Vincent Price, man.
But yeah, I mean, they were hit or miss, and like I said, the art style to me wasn't Dragon Age. I wanted a more realistic, grittier art style for Dragon Age, man.
Well, the Quinari, man. I loved the way the Quinari looked before. I'm not a fan of the new look. I like the first Dragon Age.
Don't even get me started on the Quinari. I mean, there's already people on the internet fixing that, but...
Yeah. Oh, good.
A
mod.
Yeah, but I mean, how long before they get shut down? I mean, we're already. Oh well, you're just trying to make them. You're trying to make them over masculine. That's some.
Not over masculine. They look like dragon people with ridges and scales. Like.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying. Anytime you try to change any of I mean, dude, the game's got labeled LGBTQT on. So anything you modify this game, it's going to be anti-LGBTQT. Whether it is or not, that's how it tends to. When something gets labeled like that, it tends to anything you do, you're destroying their vision. They won't. I don't know, man.
Well, and like I said, just to finish it off, if they cost the money I think they need Spider-Man 2 numbers. There's no way they're going to hit it.
Yeah.
They need, like, Black Myth Wukong numbers to make a profit. No matter what these numbers hit, they can't make their money back with what the numbers are pulling because they're only at, like, 78,000 concurrent, highest concurrent. Now, no, that isn't everything, but it is a barometer. Because, again, Dragon's Dogma 2, 230 or 40,000 concurrent 8 months ago. This game, 70-something. That's a half to a third of those numbers, which to me says you're doing a third as good or a half as good as a much cheaper and smaller franchise of a single-player action RPG. That's bad.
Yeah,
And
so
now
we have
you
an
do-
89,000 peak.
Oh, good, they're up to 89 now. That's an improvement. So now it's half instead of a third, but that's still half of their competitor. That's still half of what you see from like Dragon's Dogma 2,
But
which
then,
to me is a much smaller game.
But then we have a beta.
That's not even fair. That's not fair. You're a bully. You're a bully, man. That's wrong.
We have a beta
That's wrong.
that peaked at 147 in the last 24 hours. And the reason it dropped is just because the beta doesn't have a lot of content.
We can only play literally the intro chapter.
So they've already finished
But
the
they
beta
still
content.
have more people playing in the last 24 hours that are playing Veilguard. And they almost have more people playing right now than have ever played Veilguard. Not quite, but close, disturbingly close.
I mean, I will say Veilguard does have more people playing it right now. But like I said, it's also because people have finished the content.
Well, Veilguard's the kind of game that you're going to have pretty consistent because it's a 30, 40-hour game. So it's going to be consistent across.
Additionally, we don't have numbers for Black Ops, but...
Oh, please, it's Black Ops, man.
If you look at the Steam, it is Black Ops on... even though if you have Game Pass, you get Black Ops 6 for free. It is the top-selling game on Steam.
To compare it this way, as you can see there, the Twitch viewer numbers, 500,000 people are watching Call of Duty 6 Black Ops, and we checked earlier, or very close to it at this point.
Yeah, 123,000 viewers right now.
The all-time peak, I mean. But, so it's like...
Yeah, 400 all-time peak.
If you see how many people are just watching...
Versus 27 and 170.
And I told him that the best competition to compare it to when you go with franchises that have been around would be Elder Scrolls, like Skyrim, the last Elder Scrolls. And that's a much older game, and I'm pretty sure its concurrent is just way over that. Not playing it right now, mind you. Dragon's Dogma 2? Oh, Dragon's Dogma 2 smoked, not right now, but...
But yeah, with all-time peak, you had 200. Yeah.
Smokes it big. Now, most people have completed Dragon's Dogma 2 at this point.
Yeah.
It still has 4,000 people playing it because that game has been out for, that was over 8 months ago, and I think it's been out for close to a year, right?
Oh, yeah, it's been out.
So, year-old game, but Dragon's Dogma 2 is only the second installment in a game that did okay with its first game, whereas Dragon Age is a legacy
since March,
game.
So, a little over 6 months.
Okay. But basically, you're looking at this versus a legacy game, Dragon Age, a big franchise. It's freaking getting slaughtered, man. Now, doesn't mean it isn't selling games. I believe they're going to break even, but at best. But like I said, it depends on how much it costs. Wells, 10 years, it's like 10 years is a long time, like a very long time to make a game.
Yeah.
How many times have we seen a game that has 10 years of production? It doesn't cost like $500 million, like 400 or 500 million. You just don't rarely see something be under that. I don't think they're gonna make that kind of money, man. It ain't easy to make that kind of money. It just ain't. But you know what? The best example, I guess, let's stop yapping. Best example is they give it up on it already. They literally have said, we're not making any more content for this game. And it just came out. How the heck do you give up on future content for a game was it 3-4 days? I don't even think it's been a week, has it?
Came out the 31st of October.
Yeah.
3 days, they've already said, we're not doing anything else for this game. What do you think? I mean, I don't know how you even really compare that, man. That's just dumb.
At least hold off on that statement for a couple of weeks. At least try to get more sales. I mean, geez.
Because they're not even done selling the game. Like, you usually let a game run for about 2 weeks, 3 weeks to see how it's going to finish.
Here's the thing. They announced that 2 days ago.
So they announced it the day it came out?
The day it came out.
They knew ahead of time, didn't they?
Yeah. All right. With that, just a quick update on what we've been doing. I will say I played the Monster Hunter Wilds beta. It was fun. Honestly, it wasn't enough for me to tell you whether or not the game's going to be great or not.
It was
I played, it's a Monster Hunter game. I mean, Monster Hunter fans are most likely going to love it. Other than that, Call of Duty 6, probably best Call of Duty I've played in a while. And mostly the biggest thing killing Call of Duty 6 is its own loading screen. I mean, it's Call of Duty 6, Call of Duty launcher is a nightmare, and hopefully Microsoft will rip that shit out and quit using it soon.
I had to relaunch 3 times today just to be able to play the bloody game.
Yeah.
It was bad.
But yeah, it's not. Its Steam score is horrible. It's like 59%. Or something.
And 99% of the reviews I read were because of the launcher.
59% score, Twitch, everybody's playing and watching this game, man. So it's funny because it's a case of.
Well, it's a case of the game not being bad, but certain mechanical issues of launching that make it tedious.
Yes.
And it's something that people have been complaining of before, way before Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Like, this has been an ongoing thing since, I think, 4. So, like, for several years now, people have had an issue with this launcher and complained about it. So I get why people aren't pulling punches anymore about the launcher, because we've been bitching about it for years.
Okay, I get that then. I'm not an old Call of Duty. Like, the last time I played Call of Duty was Call of Duty Black Ops. Like, I played like Call of Duty Black, I'm talking about like 2, like way back. So for me, I'm just like, wow, that launcher sucks. Huh. But for people who've played this through 3 or 4 games, I'd probably be pissed by this game. Like, are you kidding me? And dude, here's the worst part. Here's what I didn't like. When I went to download it, it tried to download like
Modern Warfare 3,
which is like 80 gigs, and I was like, I don't want Modern Warfare. And I mean, I had it already checked. I had to go in and turn off all these massive other downloads and go like, no, dude, I want to play zombies. Heck, if you have just a zombies button, I'd click it. I only downloaded it, but it did. I only downloaded the campaign because I thought it was co-op. I can technically uninstall the campaign because I'm not going to play that campaign by myself. I don't do single-player shooters. I do multiplayer. I do co-op shooters 9 times out of 10. Unless it's something like Doom. I'm playing Doom. I'm playing that Doom medieval.
Dark Ages, yeah.
Yeah, I don't forget you boys. I don't need you. I'm running that on my own. Doomslayer don't need any backup. But that's a unique game. But like I said, I played Wilds. It still has the same problem. If you don't know how to play Monster Hunter, this isn't going to help you learn. You're going to need to look up a video. It's not got a great tutorial. And I grabbed the charge blade and fumbled my butt around like a newborn baby.
I did the dual wielding.
You probably did better than me. It was clunky and awful.
No. I managed to pull off a move once or twice. I couldn't get my moves to trigger. But also couldn't remember the controls and decided that where I'm a strong keyboard and mouse user, I don't think I'm going to use keyboard and mouse for this game.
I couldn't imagine using a keyboard and mouse for that. There's a lot of
just
stuff.
And maybe if I program my keyboard again, like I did with the previous one, I might be able to pull it off.
Or if you use the heavy crossbow.
But I think I'm just going to. I'm gonna use a controller on it.
But does it look fun? It feels like once I figure out how to play it, it's going to be really good.
Yeah.
I mean, I did some incredibly. I have no idea, but I did like crazy. I jumped on the back of that sucker and chainsawed from his.
Oh yeah, dude.
From his ass. Getting
on your mount and jumping off your mount onto it. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. I just know that I was on his back and I was shaking it, and then I saw finish. And I hit finish, and all of a sudden the sucker turned. That was
the only real good combos I could get to work were the ones coming off the mount. I couldn't figure out how to do a lot of the jumping ones from the ground.
No, the parry time is pretty good for a charge blade. The shield parry, like perfect block. The
equipment use was clunky, but I mean that's
they still have that stupid radio. Yeah, trying to sharpen my blade. Now you can customize a lot of this and sometimes get it down.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying. You're gonna probably want to get this game, sit down, and just change all your buttons.
But dude, we've talked about Monster Hunter before. Monster Hunter for a lot of people is a religion, man.
Yeah.
So I mean. The real people who are into Monster Hunter, like deep, you could probably get on and watch some videos and learn a lot. I'm just saying, because there's a lot of tips and tricks for Monster Hunter. Like,
did you figure out how to switch your ammo? Because I never could get the ammo on my slingshot to do what I wanted.
There's a slingshot?
There you go. But am I going to buy it? Yes. And one of the reasons why is because Monster Hunter is a game. Like some of these other games, which got a long shelf life.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you can play it for a long time, come back, and oh, my goodness, the constant updates.
Now,
you want to talk about a game that just adds content nonstop? Monster Hunter series is that game will just keep adding monsters and quests, keep adding. So you're going to get 40, 50, you're going to get much play out of it as you want. I think it's an investment, and I think the game's good. As far as Call of Duty, if you have Game Pass, winner. If you don't have Game Pass, don't buy it, get Game Pass. Try it there first. But If you like, of course, unless you're an online player, then hey, jump in. It's Call of Duty. It's what you expect. If you're like me, you want to play with your friends, but you don't want to play other people, the Zombies mode is a great Game Pass experience. You know, Game Pass ain't that high, man. You can get a month of it, play with your friends, see if you want to buy it. I say give Call of Duty Black Ops a try. I say give Wild Hunter, give the Monster Hunter Wild beta a try. As far as Veilguard, wait for it. Given that it has that tag, it'll come on Game Pass.
Yeah. Now, I will say, I still think Wild Hearts did better controls, and I would love to see a Wild Hearts 2. I'd probably play that over a...
For it to be the first game in the series,
Yeah.
I felt it got a bad rap because for the first test run, it was the most satisfying of the Monster Hunter games I played. I liked it way better than Rise. Now, Monster Hunter Wilds seems really good. It still don't play as smooth as, like, I'll just be honest, it doesn't still play as smooth as Wild Hearts. Wild Hearts, man, I got it that fast.
Yeah.
And the combat was quick and easy. And I'd love to see a more...
I think Wild Hearts has a lot of potential. I would love to see them come out with something else. But anyway.
Seriously.
Any last notes, Bloodaxe?
Go a crossover, dude. Just give me my dang...
No, I was looking under the Xbox store to see if I could find a trial version for Wilds, and then I couldn't find one. So I was going to give it a shot too, but
Yeah, I think you have
Only
to...
on
it's not an
Steam,
option.
Well, no, they said there was supposed to be a demo on console as well. You may have
Really?
to... I thought so.
Yeah, well,
People
I had
playing
read
on
that, but I was
PC
looking to
on
see if it
Steam.
was part of the Insider Club, which is where I got all the grounded content before it was released, and it wasn't there. So I only get to sign up for it and get a key through them, or how you got it, but I wasn't able to find it.
Hey, he's so into Wild Hearts, he typed in Wild Hearts on accident.
Yeah.
He's like, wow, no, Monster Hunter Wild. I get it, though. Bringing it up, Wild Hearts 2 would be a game I would love to see. Or, heck, I wouldn't mind if we could see the two companies come together and use it up, because I prefer my weapons from Wild Hearts and his play style. But I get that Monster Hunter Wilds is just the king of the hill. It's hard to break in. They say it's on PS5 store.
It's only on PS5. It's not on Xbox. Well, no. That was before. Let's see. Xbox.
Just type in Xbox.
Yeah.
Oh, there's people playing it. It looks like Xbox Series S, Xbox Series X,
Yeah.
Monster Hunter Wild Beta. So how do you get it then? Yeah, you should be able to get it. There's people playing it. You said you went to the store?
I went to the Insider Club.
I mean, at least there's videos claiming they're playing on Xbox. Oh, there it is. Get a Monster Hunter Wilds beta test. How do you do that? Oh, it's right there.
It's right there.
Dude, he went straight to the store and found it. Did you type in?
Is it the Microsoft Store?
Yeah,
Store?
it's in the Microsoft
Now,
Store.
you need to
get
understand,
free.
if for some weird reason, you need to say beta test. When we went to try to look at Steam and other stuff, if you type in Monster Hunter Wilds and not Monster Hunter Wilds beta test, you will not get the beta test info. I don't know why. So you might need to search and punch in beta specifically. 4.5.
Okay.
Yeah, people are loving it, saying it's playing well. Neat. I didn't suffer the glitches they said either. There were people said it was
I didn't really.
pixelization.
No,
I
I
didn't
didn't
suffer
have
any of
anything
that.
like that.
Maybe
No.
we got some beast systems. I don't know. Or they patched it by the time we got in.
Yeah.
We jumped in a day or two late. Give it a
But,
test run, man. Just check it out. Heavy bow gun. No, I've been watching reviews and people are saying heavy bow gun, sweet spot, and lance, and gun lance. But heavy bow gun is a shooter. They've been saying it's like, hey, you ever wanted to play a shooter? That has been popular with people.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap us up. Be sure to go to Dicejunkies.com where you find links everywhere online, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell on our YouTube channel.